You're watching The Lookout, a production of the Department of Humanities, Social Sciences, and Interdisciplinary Studies here at Minot State University. I'm your host, Samuel Stinson. Back in April in the spring, I took part in a departmental program-wide music, arts, literary celebration, you might say. Here's the poster for it. It's a musical literary fabuloso, I think is what we called it. So I was here. I was called Philosopher Samuel Stinson. I think that's a good description. In any event, as part of this, I shared some of my written poems. So as starting off this episode of The Lookout, I'm going to share the poem, one of the poems that I shared. It's about North Dakota. It's called North Dakota Snow Angels. And I have a reason for doing this, so stick around and take a listen. Take me out there. Take me out when it is 15 below, and we are wearing 5 layers of warm flannel. And outside, show me the northern lights. Point out the North Star. Point to the silent winter stars, that blue sky that darkens so late in summer, that dark sky now that beams down that bright curtain light. Take me out there now. Take me out now to the snowbank, away from the blowing drifts, to the fresh 3 feet of untouched snow, to the spot where we lie, brushing our arms up and around with white wings. I think it's a nice poem. Of course, I wrote it. This was published recently in a textbook for young adults who are getting introduced to poetry for the first time. So since then, I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to do something else with this as a poem? Now, adapting poetry to song lyrics is an old tradition, but I'm not a musician. I'm the only person in my family who doesn't seem to have a great musical talent. I thought, what if I could use an app, something that could help me work with a system in order to create a song? So that is what I did. You might remember a few episodes back, I interviewed ChatGPT, and this is somewhat of a new thing, a novel thing at the time. I don't think anyone had done much in terms of at least podcasting using AI as a host or a co-host. Since then, we've had an explosion of apps for generative AI, and some of these are music apps. So the one that I used is called Mureka, like Eureka, but Mureka. And Mureka is one of those software packages that is accessible via apps, via web interface, and you can take these and put in song lyrics, help generate the lyrics, or help you turn the existing lyrics you have into something that's somewhat song-like. So it adds a verse, chorus structure, as it were. So anyway, I took this poem and I said, well, what if I put this in this Mureka app? What would it sound like? So I'm going to share a couple of these in this episode of The Lookout. So think of this as a musical-focused episode. So the first of these, again, is the North Dakota Snow Angels, and this was made with Mureka. And let's take a listen, and then we'll talk about it when we come back. Here we go.
Take me out there. Take me out when it is 15 below, and we are wearing 5 layers of warm flannel. And outside, show me the northern lights. Point out the North Star. Point to the silent winter stars. That blue sky down that bright curtain light. Take me up there now. Take me out now to the
and that was North Dakota Snow Angels, made with the Mureka software with the lyrics generated using my poem that I had written and shared in the earlier spring event. So one of the things I like about the Mureka software is the ease of use. It really isn't difficult to engage with. In fact, it's pretty easy, probably a little too easy to experiment and try to create new songs with new melodies. So you can choose different voices, different styles of music. You can also do a mashup of songs. One of the things I'd wondered about was I thought, well, what if I could put this to some sort of pedagogical use? And in teaching literature courses, such as Intro to Literature, I thought, well, what could I do to get students interested in world literature, historical literature? And using music came about as one of these options. So I'm teaching a class on biblical texts as literature. And one of these is, of course, the book of Job. And I thought, well, Job is a very verse-focused book. What if I could take some of the content there and make it musical? So I chose Job chapter 3. And essentially, this is a section in the narrative you might recall where Job is suffering. He's already been the victim of fate, the victim of losing his entire property, his family, and all alone sitting there scratching himself with a potsherd on the pile in the beginning of the account and the narrative. This is where the song picks up. So what I did was I took the text, the literature, and I copied and pasted it in, and I said to Mureka, help me generate song lyrics that are in the spirit of these words. So it adapted it from the New Revised Standard Version and the King James Version. I think I mixed a little bit of the text from each from the chapter. Anyway, let's take a listen and listen to the emotional side of this again, because one of the advantages of this type of application is to get students thinking about the emotional component of song lyrics or the emotional component of literature as a whole. So let's take a listen.
Job opened up his mouth to say, he cursed the day he saw the light. Let darkness take his birth away, and let no star shine in that night. Let clouds come down to stain the air. Let shadows haunt the day he came. Let no one find a moment there to speak his name or bring him fame. Why was I born to face this pain? Why didn't I live to feel this way? Why did the world not let me fade before my heart could break? Oh, let me rest where kings now lie, where gold and silver fill the ground, where weary souls no longer cry, and silence is the only sound. The wicked cease their cruel delight. The prisoners find their sweet release. The small and great are lost in night, and all the chains of torment cease. Why was I born to face this pain? Why did I live to feel this way? Why did the world not let me fade before my heart could break?
Again, that was Let Me Rest, Job chapter 3, a song written in Mureka that was heavily leaning into the AI for adapting the text of Job chapter 3 into something that was bringing the emotion to the surface. I want to share also a few of these that are somewhat experimental. Now, I don't know when I heard this, but I think growing up, I heard there was somewhat of a legend that said there was a song by Elvis Presley that was only one word. It was the word baby, where apparently Elvis just sang the word baby over and over and over. So I thought, well, I want to try this. I'm going to try multiple genres, multiple styles, multiple voices, just using that word repeated over and over and over. And I thought, well, this might be an interesting experiment. So the best of these, I tried a country version. I tried a country western version. It didn't turn out very well. I thought, what if I did a dance song, a remix of a dance song? So here's what that sounds like. All right, this was Baby, created with the Mureka software. The song is called Baby. It's just one word repeated over and over and given a dance beat in the background using the software. So one of the recent conversations that's been in the news here lately has been Cracker Barrel. Now, when you read a Wikipedia page for a company, it really sounds like somebody in marketing just wholesale copied information over to their Wikipedia page, or maybe somebody wanting to do an entry for the page had a brochure or a leaflet or a history or some sort of public relations document. Anyway, I guess my question was, what would it sound like if I set that to music? So I gave it a rhythm, and for this one, I chose somewhat of an angry rock country sound. Anyway, this is experimental. It's not going to be extremely interesting, but I thought, well, I'll give it a try. All right, let's take a listen.
Yo, step into the barrel, feel that southern vibe. Cracker Barrel's where the country soul resides. Founded back in '69, Danny Vince had a dream. Shell oil rep, turn the store into a southern theme. Lebanon, Tennessee, right off I-40's flow. Gallatin Highway where the first spot glowed. Biscuits, grits, country ham, ton of threes on deck. Soda Cracker Barrel's where the folks connect. Rocking chairs on the porch, yeah, we kick it old school. Stone fireplace blazing, the core that's mad cool. General store aesthetics, artifacts full of town. Country music bumping, partners bringing it down. From gas pumps to no pumps, riding through the 70s. Interstate travelers, we serving up the memories. Charity in our heart, Katrina to the vets. Giving back to the people, no regret.
All right, that was Step Into the Barrel, made with Mureka. And again, this is a song using text from the Wikipedia page of Cracker Barrel. So the last of these is taken from literature. This is from the writer Gertrude Stein, written in 1914. This is a section from a book she wrote called Tender Buttons. Tender Buttons is a modernist, almost postmodernist take upon poetry and rhythm. And something I always liked about this particular writing is, again, it's somewhat nonsensical when you think about it. You listen to the words, and it's not meant to make sense, but there's a certain rhythm or cadence. And I thought, well, would this be a good example of a piece of literature that we could adapt to a music software, and what would AI make out of this? Again, all of this is considering AI has a role to play in helping to bring the humanities to life in song. All right, well, let's take a listen.
A carafe, that is a bling glass, a kind of glass and a cousin, a spectacle and nothing strange, a single her color and an arrangement in a system to pointing. All this and not ordinary, not unordered and not resembling the difference is spreading glass glitter. Nickel, but it's nickel, it is originally rid of a cover. The change in that is that red weakens an hour, the change has come.
There is no search, but there is that hope and that interpretation. And sometimes surely any is unwelcome, sometimes there is bliss. And there will be a sinecure and charming, very charming. Is that clean and cleansing? Certainly glittering is handsome and convincing. There is no gratitude in mercy and in medicine. There can be breakages in Japanese. There is no program.
That is no color chosen. It was chosen yesterday that showed spitting and perhaps washing and polishing. It certainly showed no obligation, and perhaps if borrowing is not natural, there is some use in giving a substance and a cushion. A change of color is likely, and a difference, a very little difference is prepared. Sugar is not a vegetable. Callousness, something that hardly leaves behind. What will be soft if there is a genuine interest in there being present as many girls as men? Does this change? It shows that dirt is clean when there is a volume. A cushion has that cover. Supposing you do not like to change, supposing it is very clean, that there is no change in appearance, supposing that there is regularity and a costume, if that any the worse than an oyster and an exchange.
Come to season, that is there any extreme use in feathering cotton? Is there not much more joy in a table and more chairs and very likely roundness and a place to put them?
A circle of fine cardboard and a chance to see a tassel. What is the use of a violent kind of delightfulness if there is no pleasure in not getting tired of it? The question does not come before there is a quotation. In any kind of place that is a top to covering, and it is a pleasure at any rate. There is some venturing and refusing to believe nonsense.
It shows what use this in a whole piece of wine. Use it in its extreme and very likely the little things could be dearer, but in any case there is a bargain. And if there is, the best thing to do is to take it away and wear it. And then be reckless, be actless, and be solved or return your gratitude. Light blue and the same red with purple makes a change. It shows that there is no mistake. Any pink shows that very likely it is reasonable. Still likely there should not be a fine or fancy presence. Some increase means a calamity, and this is the best preparation for three and more being together. A little common, so ordinary, yet in any case there is sweetness in some of that. A seal and matches, and a swan, an ivy, and a soup.
This was Tender Buttons by Gertrude Stein, written in 1914, set to music with the Mureka app. One of the things I liked about this piece was the alternation of lyrics between the two singers. It's a duo, and it was somewhat unexpected. I tried to pick multiple voices several times in making these, and this is the only time that worked. One of the problems with the app so far is that oftentimes AI ignores what we request it to do. So sometimes there's an indirect way to accomplish what we're hoping to do. In any event, I think this is one of the more interesting of the batch, so I hope you had a good time listening to it. Well, that's it. That's all I have today for this episode of The Lookout. And as we always say at this point in the show, this is Minot State University. Be seen, be heard, be inspired. And thanks for watching.